5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, a minute ago, the WDMA logo was blinking at me, really in a cool way. I really liked it, but we can't have that. So we're going to try and move stuff around to fix it. You know, you got to just fix it. What can you do, right? Okay, so now we're back to it was blinking. It was great. You know, I always have to work on stuff every day. It changes. Things change. Okay. So let's go talk about tech giants. So yesterday evening, stocks fell because the FTC and the Justice Department said, we're going to go look at Google and Facebook and maybe Twitter and Amazon and Apple, and we're going to see what they're up to. We're going to see how market platforms have achieved market power, engaging in practices that have reduced competition, stifled innovation, and otherwise harmed consumers. Now, you know, that's nothing new. Every company, you know, Ford Motor Company perfected the assembly line and dominated and put just gazillions of little car companies. Everybody was little. Back at the turn of the century, there were lots of little car companies. And Budweiser and Miller and Schlitz dominated the breweries and put a lot of small breweries out of business. You know, it just happens in every industry. But in digital, you know, they have the ability to knock everybody else out, buy up everybody else. So anyway, the article says that Trump's been especially critical of Twitter and some others. But also the Democrat presidential candidates have equally come out against breaking up the tech giants. So, you know, it's something that probably needs to be looked at. We all know that, whether you like it or not. It's part of, you know, the unconservative part is you're going to get monopolies. Now, Canada is much more tolerant of monopolies, having worked with the Bay Company as my first main modeling company. There's like 5 banks. That's it. You know, and the retail the Bay had 40% of retail in Canada, and now they're struggling. I think they got up to 60% after they bought their nearest competitor. Anyway, you know, just market forces. So GNC is going to close 900 stores, but of their 4,000 stores, about 28% are in malls, and the malls are struggling. And they've already announced partnerships with Dick's Sporting Goods, Hudson News, and Rite Aid to fit into those stores and sell their products there, which probably makes sense. A standalone in a mall is pretty expensive. Now, I had a client in retail that had standalone stores in malls, and what we did was direct mail, and we tested that, and we were able to drive not only existing customers but new customers to those mall locations. But you know, I understand. I haven't been to a mall in a long time because it's hard to, you know, where's the store? Where do I park? Whereas strip centers are much easier. Over in the UK, we're hearing that, and I'm going to just go back to Periscope and make sure I got my sound going. I got to find that Periscope tab. Periscope, the sound's off. Let's make sure that's working. I don't see that it's working, but sometimes it just freezes and looks like it's frozen. So we'll give it another go. I always promise myself I'm going to test it, but I don't always test it. Yeah, it looks like it's there. Okay. Looks like it's there. I just need a lot more, I don't know. Give me some hearts. I see some people watching. Okay, it seems to always work, almost always, as long as I have the sound on, and I do have the sound on. So, and on that note, let's go over just for some fun, and let's go to Tom Fishburne first. Looks like that's too big. I made it bigger, but I thought that would be better, but it's not. Okay, and Tom says, Now that we've managed for all potential risks, how am I supposed to get anything done? And that's exactly right. There's always a trade-off between risk and reward. Oh, and then they're going to put the helmet on. I didn't see that before. Right. You also need to wear some duct tape over your mouth so you don't risk saying the wrong thing. And the helmet. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you can't mitigate all risk because there's an infinite number of possible risks. Meteor attack or alien attack or uh, zombie attack. But you got to be so you can't let your risk manager or your compliance uh, officer or your accounting department or your legal take away every opportunity by saying, well, there's some risk associated with it. And as usual, Tom's right on the button. Now I thought Postit Notes is coming out with a new international campaign. It's going to launch in Canada in third quarter. So that's coming right up. And, or we're in it. Yeah. Okay. So it's launching now. So I just thought I'd show you a couple just to be a little bit lighter for the moment. Here we go.
Make your thoughts come alive. Post-it brand. Think loud.
This is the way Post-its were invented. To put in a hymnal. Actually, true.
Make your thoughts come alive this school year. Post-it brand. Think loud.
I like this one.
Make your thoughts come alive this school year. Post-it brand. Think loud.
Okay, so why am I talking about Post-it Notes? Well, because it's another case in point where tactile has advantages over digital. And we lose sight of that. And I'm going to be up at the... Oops, let's see if I can fix this so that it appears. I'm going to be up at the print event. How about that? In the first week of August, the 6th and 7th, up in Minneapolis, and I want to see you there. It's going to be entrepreneurs from all over the country who say, gee, maybe we should explore print. Maybe it's got something that we are missing. That's the way we drove traffic to the retailers who had a huge social media budget, and they cut the budget a little in digital, and we're able to grow from 50 to 100 million. Really great case study that's around someplace. That's not all they did. They did use a lot of TV once we figured out the creative. But we're going to go over to that article next. So I just wanted you to... That worked pretty well. That worked better than expected. Okay, so let's get over here back to the drawing board. Okay, so marketers are upping traditional media budgets amid increased competition and uncertainty and Brexit and all sorts of things in the UK. So all that said, I promised to get to this one, but basically it says that customer lifetime value is difficult. Yes, we know that. And I was asked about that yesterday. What do you do with customer lifetime value? And what I said was, we don't do it. It was invented by Martin Baer, and it was based on a slow decline of term life policyholders where they would cancel over time. And your term life policy will never send you a letter saying, we hope you keep this till the day you die. They actually have an incentive for you to leave, whereas retailers and e-commerce companies don't. We want to keep you forever. And so lifetime value has limited application in commerce compared to term life, where we want you to leave because then we keep all your money and don't pay a death benefit. What we do instead is ROI, and we pick a time frame, so it could be 12 months or 18 months, and we see what percentage of your customers are coming back and buying and what the profitability of that is. And so we extend beyond the initial payment, beyond the initial sale, and look at downstream revenue, just like any other payback. We have downstream revenue, and it's much simpler, and attribution is the most clear in direct mail, which I'm going to get to over here. Tech stack is only effective with clear strategic direction. Amen to that. And this is an excellent article. Brian Bowman, I'm going to put him on here, Target Marketing. And he has great, he says, that the third-party tech tools aren't as different than what Facebook and Google offers. But he says the vast majority of creative fails. 95% of new creative will not beat control. So the real competitive advantage is not just in creative, but in testing creative. What a great point. The other thing is that he gets into the Facebook prefers winning ads, and because you'll be running your control against each new ad, the system will favor the winning ad. Here's the problem with testing on Facebook and Google. You don't know who sees it. Just that simple. Which is why, in that case study I mentioned, we used mail to test creative. Now, Brian is saying to get a 95% confidence rate, in-app purchases would end up costing you $20,000 per variation. Now, when you're selling apps, I guess that makes sense, online, digital. But anything else, almost anything. You put a QR code on a postcard, and you can get that tangibility. Remember Postit Notes? We all know they have more impact than your average to-do list on your phone. Anyway, $20,000 per variation, and we know that there's an unknown skew built into Facebook and Google where they favor the existing ad. So if 95% of the tests fail, let's just say 1 in 20 fail. Okay, that's about right. So it's 20,000 times 20. Okay, so that's $400,000 to get a winning win. Okay, well, people think mail is expensive. No, it doesn't cost that anytime soon. It's more like the same basic payment to test along with an existing campaign. So, you could set up a whole test, just a test purely for $20,000. Easy, and there's a lot of things to test. So, for my money, and Brian says the alternative, instead of optimizing for purchases, let's just do install rate. Yeah, except, I have an acquaintance who boasts of 200% increase in install rate, but their overall subscribers haven't moved in their online presence. They actually show day to day. Hasn't moved in years, even with all of that new install. So that's, you can do that, and that might work, but you're better off trying mail. And don't forget, theprintevent.com. Theprintevent.com. If you're a WDMA member, I've got a code for you. You can get 15% off. It's going to be great. We're going to be up there. Have a great day. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society.